Hello, everybody. Hope all is well today. We have an exciting topic we're going to cover, and that is all about your questions answered regarding REI reply. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the motions here, the pattern. You guys know it if you guys seen these Facebook lives for a while, and that's going to be making sure I'm streaming on YouTube, making sure I'm streaming in my Facebook group. So I'll give time for people to trickle in. As you guys come in, just let me know where you guys are located, and yeah, just where you guys are located. I think this is going to be a good one. And I don't usually like doing a script, guys, but I have a little bit of a script prepared here for this live, just at the beginning, because the legalities regarding text message marketing are a little bit unclear. So again, guys, just give me about 1 minute. Let me make sure I'm just streaming on all my other areas. I need to tag everybody in the Facebook group. There's already a few of you guys in here. Thank you. Give me just 1 minute. I'm going to be right back. I want to be on live and hopefully play some music that doesn't suck. All right, we gotta get some better music here, guys. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks, Mr. X. CC, I love your channel. Just found you recently. I love to know what your conveyor belt um, looks like when you have new deals. Are you texting first, then after some time calling them? That's a great question. So I will copy this question here if I can, and I will paste this, and I'll just get to this question here after just the intro. Okay. So appreciate that, Mr. X. Nate, so good to see you, my friend. And Mr. X, thank you, and so thank you for and welcome to the channel. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead and get into it. I know you guys have questions around text message marketing, so I'm about to go over the main question everybody has, and what is that? Is it legal? Let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Divine intervention, right? Divine timing. You love to see it. You love to see it. Okay, I'm going to keep that up there. Okay, guys, legally navigating text message marketing for wholesalers. Okay, guys, why texting works, but you need to be smart. Guys, as a background, probably 500,000 sellers myself and for my JV partners and clients last year. No legal issues. I set up over 117 REI reply accounts. No issues at all from any of the accounts. There are best practices to follow, and this isn't so black and white. Okay, so I'm going to have some notes here that I prepared, and feel free to chime in with your questions. Okay, guys? So let's go ahead and jump into it. So Guys, we all know that text message marketing is one of the fastest ways and most direct ways to reach homeowners. Yes, true. Yes. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Is it legal? Because the last thing you want to do, guys, is get shut down by carriers, fined for spam, or even worse, get sued by TCPA. So the answer isn't black and white. Some people will tell you cold calling is illegal, don't do it. Others will tell you everyone does it, just blast out your text. What's the truth, guys? There's a way to do it right so you don't run into trouble. And that's exactly what I'm about to break down for you today. Okay, it's not so black and white. I want you guys to remember that as we're going through this. So the legality with text message marketing. So let's talk about the rules real quick. The main law you need to know is TCPA. TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. It regulates how businesses can send automated calls and texts. The main thing it says is that you cannot send unsolicited marketing text messages without prior express written consent. And that's where most wholesalers mess up. Okay, so on top of that, cell carriers have their own system called 10DLC, which all this, whenever you hear me say A2P 10DLC, I'm referring to the regulations that went into place in October 23. Okay, guys. So you may hear me say A2P, you may hear me say 10DLC, but in this particular instance, what I'm referencing is this. The cell carriers have their own system called 10DLC, which is designed to prevent spam. It's designed to prevent spam. So if you're using a text message marketing platform without registering your campaign, your messages are most likely going to get blocked. Guys, whether you're using Smarter Contact, REI Reply, which we love, what's some other ones? Lead Sherpa, Launch Control, Text Grid. There's a lot of them out there. They're going to require you to become 10 DLC compliant. And a lot of these companies, they don't help you get compliant. We do, right? But and even if they do, it may take like 2-3 weeks to get compliant. So we help you guys get compliant. But that's a separate conversation a little bit later. We'll talk about that. But so here's the thing. Think, all these companies, will they offer text message marketing and have hundreds of investors sign up for their tools when they specifically do text message marketing if it's illegal? You have to ask yourself that. You have companies that are making over $200,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. Some of these companies like Smarter Contact, whatever, Lead Sherpa, REI Reply, whatever it is, if they're charging $100 to $400 a month and they have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 users on their platform, that's a good chunk of change. There's no way that they're going to be able to do this and say we're like have consumers you do text message marketing and it'd be illegal. So like just think about that. Like that should be something that should raise suspicion if you're automatically hearing people say text messaging is illegal. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Not all text messages fall underneath the same rules. There's a difference between a marketing message and an informational or transactional message. This is where the loophole comes in, guys. Okay, so think a marketing message versus marketing message versus informational. Okay, so what's the loophole? Informational versus marketing messages. This is the big. A marketing message is when you text someone saying, hey, I want to buy your house. Let's talk. That's an ad. That's what we were able to do before 2023, right? We were able to do this stuff. Hey, I want to buy your house. I want to buy with cash. I'm the money man. I have the cash. We can't do that anymore, guys. That's what the whole loophole. Well, that part of it got tightened up with the laws that went into effect in October 2023. So again, if you say, hey, I want to buy your house for cash, you can't do that. That requires prior consent. But an informational message is different. If you're providing value, sharing marketing insights, or following up in a natural way, you're not egregiously, blatantly soliciting a sale. For example, this is a high-risk, illegal text message I wouldn't send. Hey, John, I'm an investor looking for properties in your area. Would you be interested in a cash offer? No. And I don't even think that will go through. You can't even use cash, and it won't even go through with Twilio these days. And depending on the texting tool you're using, they won't even allow you to create that message. But in case you can, that will get you in trouble. An example of a low risk informational text to a homeowner. Hey, John, I just left you a voicemail about your property at 123 Main Street. Let me know if this is a good number for you. See the difference? The second message is a natural follow-up, not a blatant solicitation. Here's the thing, guys. When you cold call a seller, you can leave a voicemail, or you can just say, hey, I gave you a call. I'm looking to, I'll give you a call about your property at 123 Main Street. Give me a call back. I would love to talk to you about it. You're not saying, I want to buy it. You're not saying, are you looking to sell it? It's a follow-up from a cold call. Now, some of you guys may say, well, I'm not doing cold call. I'm just doing cold texting. Somebody's cold calling these people. But even with that, you don't have to cold call them first if it's an informational text. And that's what we do. So the text message that my company uses is this. Hey, it's Alex. We're interested in acquiring your property at 123 Main Street. Are you open to parting ways with it? Now, we're going direct. I've sent this message off well over 500,000 times. Haven't had any issues. Guys, I am a risk taker. I operate in the gray areas. I've been doing this for a while, and knock on wood, I've never had anything like legal happen to me with homeowners. I've had some threatened things, just transactional related. Like one seller, when I need to back out of a deal because my buyer wouldn't come up, based off the seller's price, and the seller wouldn't go lower. Yeah, that seller was like, well, I'm going to force you to sell. Nothing came of that. One time I did have to, and this is completely separate, and this was in my second year of real estate. One time I did have to take a seller to court mediation, though, because there was just some things that there was a father on the deed, and the father saw that his daughter was trying to sell the home for cheap, and he was like, you guys are trying to rip us off, da 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 da. My buyer ended up forcing the sale, and we had to mediate. I had to come down like 1.5 grand on my assignment, but everybody got paid. I think the buyer went up like $2K. The house is in Union Heights, South Carolina. So those are the only like two things that have happened to me. I've done a lot of deals and a lot of marketing, but I follow best practices. Guys, if you're in this business and you're trying to color and draw in between the lines, you're in the wrong business. Okay. If you don't feel like you want to operate on the edge and that's uncomfortable for you and you want to be all righteous and pious, that's the wrong business. And what I tell people too is that even if you go work at a 9-to-5 job, there's somebody that is making these high-risk decisions. Somebody's making these high-risk decisions, and they're losing sleep and getting gray hair over it. So you can go to sleep at night knowing that you're playing and drawing within the lines. So just think about that. Like, I'm that owner. And so my employees, and so my girl, and so all my friends, who live off of my money can sleep well at night. I'm the one making some really, really heavy weighted business decisions. Okay. Is it in you? Is it in you? You have to ask yourself that. Is it in you? Are you a shark? Or you just want to play in the fence and not go out there in the jungle? Let's continue. Drop your questions if you have them, guys. Drop your questions. We're just getting started here. So again, guys, informational text messages. You could send informational text messages out. Again, what does that look like? Again, hi, I just left you a voicemail about your property at 123 Main Street. Let me know if this is a good number for you. Even if you don't call them and you guys want to send a low risk text message off and you don't like the text that I use, I would suggest using that one because it's a follow-up, right? And they may say, well, I didn't get a call from you. Well, you could say, well, it was from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right. And it could have been, but your text number is going to be different from the cold calling number. So they're not going to put 2 and 2 together. Even an attorney is going to have trouble like putting that together to take you to court. And you should be, when you upload your list, they should go through a DNC filter. Right. And I know with REI Reply, it removes the DNCs. Again, just another layer of protection, guys. Best practices. So what's the smartest way to cold text without breaking any rules? So how do you know how do you do this the right way, guys? Here's my 3-step strategy to keep yourself compliant while still reaching motivated sellers. Okay. Step 1, if you're really a scaredy cat and you want to do this, you cold call first. So cold calling is still legal as long as you're manually dialing in some of these tools. It's you could do the single line dial, but how would they know if you're manually dialing? Again, guys, who's a law is only enforceable as much as somebody wants to pursue it, right? So to keep yourself compliant while still reaching out to motivated sellers. So you could do that. You could cold call. Cold calling is still legal. Okay, boom, boom, boom. You could use text as a follow-up, not a contact first. So instead of blasting out text to random homeowners, you can use the first message as a reminder that you called. So you called, you could call your list first. And then once you call your list, guys, then you can go through and you can text it. But if you text and call it simultaneously, who would know? But again, I'm telling you guys the right way to do it. If you absolutely want to do it right, you could still text blast and you could still do it this way, the right way. When people say it's illegal, guys, we need to pull those layers back. I do not like people just saying so many black and white things, okay? So here's an example of text after missed call. Again, hey, I left you a voicemail about your property. If you have a minute, I'd love to chat. Let me know if this is a good time. And you could get them to opt in naturally. So if anyone expresses interest in selling, you could ask them for permission to send them info via text. So like you can call them and then you can just say, hey, would it be easier just to send you some details via text? Some may say yes, and that's implied consent, but that's not really what we're talking about here. You can't get in touch with a lot of homeowners doing that. So I would say if you are concerned about the legalities, you're completely in the clear. Again, I'm not an attorney, but you're in the clear based off the regulations and all the research that I did for this YouTube and Facebook live stream. If you cold call first and then you follow up, if you didn't get a contact from them, you can then text them and you can text blast them at that point. And it could be a reminder. It could be a reminder. So how do you keep your messages from getting blocked? Let's talk about this, guys. So even if you follow the rules, the carriers can still block your messages if they think you're sending spam. So here's how to avoid that. So you're going to register your company with the 10DLC. Of course, if you're using REI Reply, which is what we suggest, you will need to register it with 10DLC in order to send off text. And we do that for our clients as well. So if you guys need us to do that, I just got somebody signed up today with that. We could go ahead and get your account signed up. So keep your text conversational. So avoid spammy words like cash offer or we buy houses. The furthest I push it is say acquiring. I use synonyms. They're synonyms, right? Synonyms. You guys got to forgive me. I love the English language, but yeah. So I use synonyms. So instead of saying I'd like to buy, you can say, hey, I'd like to acquire it. Okay. So don't send mass messages, batch them in small groups to make them look for more natural. Okay. So always give an opt-out option as well. So when I say mass messages, so we send off about 250 texts at once, maybe 500. Probably 250 and 500 is where we're at. You can do 1,000, but I found that keeping up with that volume with a VA isn't like super advantageous. Even if I have two VAs in the same account, it could get a little messy. So, 250 to 500 at once. So always give an opt-out option. Super important. So what they tell you is to reply stop to opt out. But here's the thing, guys. I use an opt-out message. A lot of you guys may say, well, does that affect the delivery rates? Well, I mean, I haven't seen, or it hasn't affected my lead rates at all, right? So my lead rates are at 1%. Those are actually way higher than when before 10DLC. So a lot of people aren't texting right now. And so our lead rates are quite high, lead percentages. So instead of saying reply stop to unsubscribe, I put in the opt-out message, reply no. Some people will still say stop, but the thing is, if they say stop, that's going to trigger to the carriers that you basically have people that are opting out. And so if half the people say stop and then half the people say no, and you got, let's just say 20 opt-outs in a day, and 10 say no, it won't trigger to the carriers and to Twilio that you have a high opt-out rate. So it's all these little things, guys, that we do. It's not one big thing that we do. in order to make our text message campaigns compliant and perform really well, there's like 15 little tweaks that we do, from sending it and not sending them out via drip. We send them out in another area in REI Reply. Other accounts don't allow you to do that. REI Reply allows you to do that in the workflow section. And also, we're using a local number. Some people may just use a 1-800 number, even though it's common knowledge. Checking our numbers for spam every day through nomorobo.com, right? Making sure, this is super important, guys, making sure your data is updated and clean and accurate. Guys, oh my gosh. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a data nerd and data snob. Guys, you have got to make sure your data is updated. You've got to make sure, guys. If not, what's going to happen is this isn't going to be the main thing that causes your account to go bad. But it could be if all your phone numbers are wrong and then you have a high unsubscribe rate, the carriers are going to be looking at you like, what's going on? That's going to trigger that these people don't have consent. It's going to look like they don't. So if my data is clean and I'm getting only like 10 people that opt out a day and I'm sending 500 messages, that's still a lot, to be honest. But I'm just using that as an example. And then if you're getting 100 opt-outs per day because you're targeting bad data, you're targeting people that don't even own the houses, your data's out of date. Last time these phone numbers were updated was 2012. They're getting them from phone books or been verified or something like that, or free resources. That's what makes your campaigns not perform well, guys. It's not just one thing. It's a totality of things. And so this is why I'm actually presenting this to you. And so, guys, I apologize if I sound frustrated here. It's not frustration at you guys. It's more of like I'm in the trenches doing this business every day, right? I'm doing deals. And if I'm not, I'm working on my clients' campaigns. So I'm split my time between my wholesale company and my consultation company, right? Where we provide data, set up people's REI Reply accounts, and then I help build teams for my clients. So I have a full schedule from 7 o'clock when I wake up all the way to when I go to sleep at midnight. Even after this call, I'm going to be doing stuff for my clients. I'm not really focused right now on building a huge audience. So there's been people that have eclipsed me over the years. I'm not saying boo-hoo, why me, all that. No, like I'm focused on the people that find me are the people that find me. I'm not trying to like trick the algorithm and making me blow out, right? So why am I saying that? There's a lot of people that are putting information out in order for entertainment value, and it may be incorrect, but it's getting pushed because it's like entertaining and it's clickbaiting. So people may say text messaging is illegal, and they may not even have researched this. Guys, I literally have researched the FTC website, .gov website, to get this information to you guys. Still, guys, legally, consult an attorney. This isn't legal advice, but I'm just telling you what works for me, and I have not come across any legal issues because I am using best practices. And I'm also, again, I've read a lot of the documentation with REI Reply, and I know what works, and I've experimented a lot. So before we move forward, guys, we have a question here. Drop your questions, guys. Please drop your questions, or just let me know if you're finding value out of this. Okay. Excuse me, guys. I'm having a few allergies now. Don't mean to pick my nose here. Okay. So questions related to the shark comment. Interested in your opinion on hiring a VA if I have the extra budget, only when I scale are potentially a profitable risk. So let me just copy that here. I thought it was a text messaging question, my friend. So I'm going to just copy that, and I'm going to get to that here in a moment. Excuse me. I don't know if I could copy this thing. It let me copy the first one. So anyway, I'll get to that here in a moment. Okay. So give me about like 10 minutes and we'll get to that. All right. Thank you for the question. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and let me wrap up my monologue. So closing thoughts at the end of the day, guys, the key to legal and effective text message marketing is to make it feel natural and get some form of consent before blasting messages. Like if you want to be completely above board, guys. So instead of thinking about cold texting, think of it like warm texting. You can call first. So if you're triple line dialing, you're calling, and then text as a follow-up. So you can call, and then text as a follow-up. So this keeps you compliant, reduces your risk, and makes you way more effective. Okay? Makes you way more effective. Now, how does CC do it? This is how we get down over here. Guys, I blast homeowners. I haven't had an issue. I get 10 DLC compliant, and I haven't had an issue. I'm sending upwards of 5,000 texts per day, and I have about 4 to 5, about 5 REI reply accounts. Okay? So we don't have any issues. We're using clean data. We're targeting homeowners who want to hear from us, and people that do reply, stop or no to unsubscribe, we're taking them off our list. Some investors, guys, not only are you targeting bad data, think about this. If you're targeting bad data and you're hitting that data over and over again, what do you think is going to happen to you? So we do a one and done type situation when it comes to texting. We text sellers once, we text sellers once, and that's it. Now, you can put them in a drip campaign, but I suggest doing that only after they text you back. And let's just say you don't get in touch with them, you can text them back. That's what I suggest. You can do that, okay, guys? So when it comes down to it, seller texts you back, says, hey, I'm interested in selling. I would say this, we are getting in touch with maybe 1 or 2 people per every 5 texts that text us back, right? So if we get 5 leads and they say, yes, I'm interested, somebody else may say, what's your offer? Somebody may say, well, I want $50K for my house. I consider all those leads. The prospect list is the overall list that we're reaching out to. Some of you guys may use different vernacular, but just to make sure we're on the same page, my raw list is my prospect list. The leads are the people that come back and text. Qualified leads are people we get on the phone. And then based off of that, it's cold, warm, or hot. Okay. So just because they're qualified doesn't mean they're automatically hot leads. Okay. So when it comes down to it, you want to make sure if you are following up with these people or you are text messaging more than once, they've actually came back and they said, hey, I'm interested in selling. That's actually best practice I would adopt. I want to lay way underneath the radar here. Text message, guys, it's the best way to get in touch with homeowners right now. It is. We're getting a 1% lead rate, meaning 500 texts out, 1% people. Guys, it's insane. Comparison to 0.5 to 0.1 to 0.5% response rate with direct mail. And you got to think, direct mail, let's talk about the numbers here. Guys, if your average direct mail piece is 64 cents, 0.64, and then you're sending off 10,000 direct mail pieces, that's $6,400. How many people can I get in touch with texting? 10,000, and an REI reply cost me a third of a cent, 0.0075. I get in touch with those same 10,000 people for $75. Like, I don't understand why you would do direct mail. And then the response rates for direct mail. So let's just say best case scenario, I'll get a 0.5% response rate. So that'll give me 50 leads. Oh, no. I'm sorry. That'll give me 50 responses. And out of those, maybe only, I'll be conservative, maybe only 20% will be leads. So out of those 10,000 direct mail pieces that you sent, 50 responses back, best case scenario at a 0.5% response rate. 10 will be leads. 10 will be leads. Let's talk about text messaging. And I'll go ahead and I'll share my, let me share my window with you guys. I'm not sure if I can. I might need to restart this. I was having some issues with my computer, guys. So I want to share my screen with you guys, but it may need me to restart my Chrome. And if it does, I will not do this. Give me 1 second. I want to share my calculator with you. All right. I'm not going to share. It's going to require me to restart. Okay, guys. So here's the thing. Direct mail, 0.5% response rate. 20% of those will be leads. 10%, 10 leads out of 10,000 direct mail pieces. You need at least 45 to 50 direct mail pieces to get a property under contract. That's why if you're doing direct mail, you've got to do it in bulk. Like, unless you're targeting a really, really targeted list, direct mail doesn't make sense, guys, for you guys. It doesn't. And I can tell you that because I did direct mail my first couple of years in real estate. My first 2 years, I was direct mail heavy. And I was trying to drive for dollars and write direct mail pieces to people, and I thought I was doing something big. I would get 10 addresses, maybe write 10 of them, and then send them off. I probably did that for 4 months, no deals, until my business partner and I said we need to take money aside and put that towards a direct mail marketing campaign. And that was 3,000 records, but I researched the heck out of that list. I made sure I was on Bigger Pockets every day because I said this is the only money we have. If we don't make money out of this campaign, our wholesaling dreams died. So right now, guys, if you're going to do direct mail, I would do it in bulk, especially if you're going to do postcards. You could get away with probably a lower volume if you're doing yellow letters, but the yellow letters, have to be, I probably would say, handwritten and with those colorful envelopes. I like pink, purple, yellow envelopes. And also, you need to be targeting a targeted list, super targeted list. Okay, guys. So text messaging, again, let's get back to the response rates or the lead rates with text messaging. We're getting a 1% lead rate. So that means 100 leads. Now, let's just say we only get in touch with half of them. That's 50 people we got in contact with. And that's what we're averaging right now. Versus direct mail, you'll get 10 people. So with texting, $75 plus your data, right? So all in, if you're using a good data source like my list, costs $21.97. So if you're using a list of $2,000 and it's costing you $75 to send the text off and $99 for REI reply, you're all in 21. I would just say 21 plus 97. Excuse me. You're all in like $2,200, and you're going to be able to get a deal if you do that type of volume. You could do volume lower with texting, but you still have to do volume, right? I suggest, if you're doing 100 texts per day, you'll get a deal. But again, how long is it going to take you to get 50 leads? So 100 texts per day, 1% lead rate, that's one lead over the course of, let's just say 20 business days. That's 20 leads. So you may only have a chance to get a property under contract 45 days in. 45 days in. Super important stuff here, guys. Okay. Super important stuff. Okay. Let's go to the questions here. All right. I'll first get to this one. Drop your questions when you got them, guys. Drop your questions. Hi, CC. Love your channel. Just found you recently. Okay. So if I love to know about your conveyor belt look like, when you have new deals, are you texting first? Then after some time calling them. Okay, so I think I answered this question. So great question, Mr. X. I'm calling and texting simultaneously. So that's over analyzing it. And let me tell you guys when I learned that I shouldn't be so concerned about calling first or texting first or any of that. Number one, the people that respond back to a cold call are going to be different than the ones that respond back to a text. Okay, super important stuff here. So if you have people that respond, if you're able to get in touch with all the people that would respond back to a cold call, that may only be about 45% of the people on your list. So you're leaving another 55% of people on the table. When I did an analysis last year of all of our marketing, one of the things I analyzed was did we get any duplicate data or any duplicate leads when we cold called and texted at the same time? Maybe once. But I dare to say it happened probably less than 1% of the time. So no. So what does that tell us? The people that respond back to a cold call are going to be completely different from the demographic that call back or respond back to a text. I'm a text person. Ask yourself, who are you? You guys could drop it in the comments here. Are you a text person? Are you a cold call person? Would you respond to if somebody sends you a cold call? Or would you respond to if somebody sends you a text? Usually what I found is one or the other. Based off my research, is one or the other. Okay? For me, I'm a text person, but I would very rarely pick up for a cold call. I would respond back maybe if they leave me a voicemail. But even that, Verizon, you can read the text of the voicemail. So I'm still like getting a text. Okay. Excuse me, guys. So again, to answer your question, Mr. X, calling first, texting next. or excuse me, calling and texting at the same time. Excuse me. Oh, and another reason why too, guys, I learned how big players did this. Shout out to Solve Real Estate. I worked with them as their marketing director for a year back in 2019 and 2020. I learned how a multi-million-dollar investment company operates, like really multi-million dollars. I was hitting probably 700K, $1 million in my own business, but that was like brute force. With them, they had everything. They were doing things in mass, and I really saw at that point. And I was doing direct mail, so I saw at that point when I started working with them, they were essentially doing a lot of volume and weren't concerned about these details that I guess newer wholesalers are concerned about, or things you think are important. And that's something that you either have to learn or somebody just has to tell you. Right? Doing texting a list first and cold calling it, that's not important. That's not going to affect your response rates. Again, because there's going to be two different demographics. Nobody's going to say, you guys been calling me so much. They're not going to respond back with a text. They're going to respond back with a call if they say, you guys been calling me too much. So gold, gold, gold. You love to see it. You love to see it. Dropping these nuggets, guys. Okay, another question for Mr. X. Okay, so I do have a text messaging question. I'd like to know more about cold SMS. Drop your question, and then we'll get there. If I didn't answer it, Mr. X, drop your question, please. More about the cold SMS. Yeah, I'm a text person too. Yeah, I'm not a cold call. I'm a text person. A lot of people on YouTube. All right, Stefan. All right, guys. So Stefan, great guy. We set up his REI reply account, and we got a list pull for him. Should be getting that on Monday, Stefan, for you. So good point about not using old data. So you only text a list once, regardless of response to the initial text. I personally do. Now, here's the thing. Caveat, there's always caveats. Guys, I would give it 30 days. If you're really in a tight spot and you just want to hit these people again, give it 2 weeks. But don't text the same people like every 24 hours. Again, it's not so black and white. I know some people that are performing really well. Shout out John Villanova. Didn't know if you're on here. We had a consulting call a couple weeks ago. We said got his text messaging right, but with him, he was texting the same like 6,000 sellers over and over again, and the texts were being sent to different numbers underneath the same homeowner. So he was texting different numbers. So if you want to text phone number 1, 2, 3, or 4, you could do that. That might be safer if you really want to maximize your list, maybe phone number 1, 2, 3, and 4, opposed to actually texting the same number over and over again. So you could do that, right? So if you only have maybe like 3,000 homeowners, but you have, let's just say 3 times 3, 9,000 phone numbers to text because it's phone numbers 1, 2, and 3, you could do that. And then you'll have unique data for the whole month. But again, what if you get in touch with the homeowner, the homeowner's wife one day, and then the homeowner's husband the next, right? They could come together and say, well, why is this person texting us? So, but it's not to the same handset. It's not to the same cell phone. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? So if I have a list of 10,000 records, I could technically text the same homeowners, but different phone numbers. But I just wouldn't text the same list over and over again, guys. Now, Stefan, if you want to do text and trying to figure out for your scenario, if you want to put them in a drip campaign, you can do that. So guys, I would only put people in a drip campaign after they respond back. Like if I don't get in touch with them, I'll put them in a drip campaign, but I still have my follow-up specialist hammering those phones for me. Okay. And the drip campaign is just what would I say? Not a byproduct, but it's to supplement the cold follow-up text. Okay. Great question, Stefan. Let me know if I answered that. All right. Let's see here. What other questions do you guys have? If not, I have some other notes here I'd like to get to. Okay, yeah, Mr. X. Let me get to your question. So, question related to the shark comment. Interested in your opinion on hiring a VA. If I have the extra budget, only when I scale are potentially a profitable risk. Excuse me again, guys. So, here's my thoughts on hiring a VA. If you're at a limited budget or you're trying to figure out how to spend your budget, guys, spend it with texting first. Spend it doing texting. And I suggest you guys get in touch with my team to set up your REI reply account. Because again, if you try to do this yourself in any of these texting tools, number one, I like REI reply because they don't have a overhead, right? They don't have overhead. Or you guys could just go straight to my website, buildtoscalerealestate.com. So it has all the text messaging information up front. So REI reply does not have any sort of oversight. What do I mean by that? And I talked to the owner, David, if you're watching, shout out to you. So I talked to the owner a few weeks ago, and I mentioned to him, I like the fact that you guys don't have red tape, meaning they're not like overuse looking at what you're doing. Some of these tools, guys, you have to operate so tight because you're over here trying to make sure that you're not doing anything illegal. But if you follow CC's best practices, you don't have to worry about that. But again, some of these texting tools, they make it so it's almost like it defeats the purpose of using it as a marketing channel. We need to be able to do text in bulk. We may need to be able to do direct mail, cold calling in bulk without having people looking over our neck, because I want to have some sort of competitive advantage. If I can't maneuver and maybe like exploit the system still legally, but maybe like going to the outer boundaries of that square, as far as I can towards the boundary. But if they're like, hey, you have to stay in the center, I cannot get a competitive advantage over my competitors. Everybody that's using that texting platform is going to have the same ability to get in touch with homeowners. I like having a competitive advantage. I know with REI Reply, I exploited one. So me and my team, we figured out a way to send off 500 to 500, 600, 700, 800, even 1,000 texts in bulk. What do I mean by that? Before 10DLC, all right, guys. So before 10DLC, back in before October, so 2021, 22, 23, when the good times are rolling, you can upload, 50,000 texts and send them in one day. And you can upload it and they will drip them off. Now you can't even do that in any of these tools. You literally have to sit there, wait until the text campaign finishes, it drips off, and then you have to upload it again. You would need a VA in that particular case. Okay. You would need a VA in that particular case. So what we're doing now is we are setting it up where you don't need a VA. You could just send off 500 in bulk. We have an RN that works with us. We set up in his account. Shout out to Eddie Lopez, my guy. So he virtually flips in Fayetteville from, I believe he's in Phoenix, Arizona. So full-time nurse, sends off his little 200 to 300 texts before his shift, answers all the questions, is done. He couldn't do that if he needed to drip them off. So again, guys, the texting platform and how you set it up is really important. So let me finish answering your question. So let's talk about VAs. So if I were starting off and I had like $1,000 budget, I'd make sure I pay for high quality data, and I'd make sure I pay for virtual assistants. Or excuse me, I'd make sure I pay for texting. So getting my texting account set up, high quality data. If you guys have data issues, tap in with your boy. Hit me up over Facebook or info at ccgarlandmarketing.com. But Facebook might be the best way to reach me. But yeah, so if you guys, I would spend money on data and your texting tool, right? You don't need a VA, right? If it's you guys, you got to think, you have to learn how to manage that VA. Any of you guys on this call, I know majority of real estate investors, guys, we do not come from a managerial type background or even owner background. And so knowing how to manage virtual assistants, getting the most out of them, and even knowing what to monitor is important. So tracking their KPIs, making sure they're showing up on time, giving them advice, right? they're not going to be the ones, even if they say I could do X, Y, and Z with texting, you're going to strike gold. Some of you guys will, and you may strike gold and have a VA that can do everything for you. But the whole goal isn't to hire a VA and them to do stuff for you. You need to be the one in order to put the fires out or solve their issues. So unless you know all the ins and outs of what you're hiring them for, I don't suggest hiring them, especially if you're working a 9-to-5 job. Because what if that person, that virtual assistant, needs your support and you're tied up on the floor doing your shift? Not good, guys. Not good. You're basically wasting your money, and you're just paying to make it feel like you're being productive, and you're not really being productive. Okay. So super important here, guys. So if I were to start, I would start higher. I would do texting first. Get your first couple deals texting. I literally had this conversation with a gentleman from Bigger Pockets today. Once you get your text messaging up and running, that's when I would go. And once you close some deals, then you should hire a lead manager. And then the last thing I would hire is cold callers. I would do texting and acquisitions yourself, follow up yourself up until you have maybe 300 leads. Once you get 300 leads, that's when you can go and hire a follow-up specialist. You'll be able to get at least one more deal a month as long as you're doing 500 texts a day with that follow-up specialist. So if you're paying them $5 to $6 an hour, that's $240. They bring in a deal and you already have the leads in the system. They're literally just following up with them. Then they're adding an extra 10 grand to your company, and you're paying them $800, maybe $1,000. That's that's a 9x return, guys. So cold calling, guys, it's not going to convert this month. So one of the other analysis I did on my data and my deals from last year, this year, were how many leads converted. Okay, so how many leads converted? When did the leads convert based off the marketing channel? What was the average? So when cold calls came in, those leads converted on average 60, 90 days. Okay, so around like 77. Texting on average converted in 30 days. On the higher end, really on the optimistic end of the spectrum, we were sending off text messages, and we were getting contracts back within 9 days on average, right? So when I eliminated some of the outliers, right, the ones where they converted maybe like 90, 120 days, I would consider those our follow-up by then. But based off the marketing we did, like if we did it in February 1st, I would have 3 to 4 contracts by the end of February 28th. And that's on average. So again, I love text messaging, guys. It's the bread and butter right now for me. Not a lot of people know how to do it, and they think it's illegal, right? So and then on top of that too, guys. So let's talk about why it works now. This has eliminated a lot of people from the 10DLC A2P laws. Eliminated a lot of people from the field. It eliminated, who did it eliminate, guys? Foreign companies. So foreign VA companies. If you guys are on Facebook, you probably have gotten hit up by these people saying, I'll provide inherited lists, all these lists and stuff. Well, they were hitting us up during the pandemic about, hey, I can text for you. They can't do that anymore. You need an American LLC to do that. Okay. And then on top of that too, you need to register your company and each texting platform. It's all these hoops to jump over. If you guys think this is a lot of work, my thing is, my mentor always told me, hey, CC, if it takes you more hoops to jump over in order to get to the goal, you're leaving somebody behind at every hurdle. So if there's 10 hurdles and there's 10 investors, I'm going to be the one, I'm going to leave somebody behind at every hurdle. And so I figured this out, and I have a competitive advantage. I was dying to find a competitive advantage, guys, because there was not one for years. Really, 2020, 2021, 2022, guys, it was super saturated and the barrier to entry was low. That was the time to get in the market. But for experienced investors like myself, it was a bit frustrating because anybody who had a credit card could buy DataZap phone numbers and then sign up for a text magic account and literally get in touch with the same homeowners I could. It's quite frustrating. But now it's difficult. And the people that don't want to grind it out, they're going to say, oh, I'm going to do crypto or whatever MLM's going on right now. And it cleared them from the work from the field. On top of that too, guys, we have a lot of investors that are listening to these people online, whoever the most popular person is right now, and they're saying text message marketing is illegal. It's like crazy. So I don't know about you guys, but I have a brain and I want to actually look and see what the actual law says. And I always know there's always a loophole. If there's a loophole in tax law, if there's a loophole for murderers to get out murdering, to get out of prison, guys, from, if it definitely looks like they deleted somebody, guys, let's be honest. There's going to be a loophole here when it comes to text message marketing. It's not that serious. Ignorance is really why a lot of people struggle, and they're not getting their information from reputable sources. Okay, so a lot of info. I think I might need some more help. Yeah, so guys, if you need some help here, this is what I do. I wouldn't be marketing something or saying or offer this if I did not believe in my service and what I do. So I offer services because I want to get you guys right. I do wholesaling full-time. I do consulting part-time, but I have a team that helps me out, executive assistant, operations manager on that end. So we're setting up about 10 to 15 text accounts a week rather. So if you want your texting messaging account set up, go to buildtoscalerealestate.com. Okay, buildtoscalerealestate.com. And that on the main page, it goes over, basically sums up everything I was talking about here and the advantages of working with us. I also have a package where we can get a list pulled for you guys. So if you want me to do the market analysis, do your list pull and set up your text messaging account in 5 to 7 business days, we can get that rolling ASAP. So Build to Scale Real Estate. And if you have any questions, guys, you can always just message me. I'll drop my email here, info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. It's a lot to navigate, guys. It is, but I figured it out. I basically shut all my lead generation services down because cold calling wasn't converting. And so it took me about 3 months to really figure this thing out. And then once I did, I started offering it as a service for a client. So we could do text messaging campaigns for you, or you could just pay one time and we could set it up for you. So info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. Mr. X said, reality check for me. Yeah, it is for a lot of people. I'm guessing you're talking about the VAs. Okay. All right, let me go to my questions here, and I'll just keep this up here, guys. I'll put this in the top left corner. If you guys want to do the QR code, or if you want to go directly to the website. Excuse me, guys, I have allergies. Okay, what other notes do I have? Okay, so, super important, guys. So if you guys want, let's talk about anonymity. If you guys want complete anonymity, let's talk about this, guys. Check out Harvard Business Solutions. If you're still concerned and you're like, well, all this sounds good, but I want to make sure that I'm not getting flagged. Well, nobody could find my LLC information. Check this company out. I register my first LLC with them, Blip Leads, back in 2017. So DelawareInc.com. Okay. So they're a registered agent. For about $300, they'll hook you guys up and you could get your LLC created. So your LLC could get created and it could just, and then when you register it in REI Reply, you can send us that information if you sign up with us to get your REI Reply account set up. And then once we do that, if anybody wants to find out your name, they can't find it. It goes to Harvard Business Solutions, DelawareInc.com. And their address is 16192 Coastal Highway, Lewes, 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 Delaware, 19958. So if somebody does look you up and it says, Acme LLC, they're going to say, oh man, I'm going to sue this Acme LLC person. They're going to call Harvard Business Solutions and it's going to go straight to voicemail probably. They can't find you. What are they going to do? Sue the registered agent? They just registered the account. Guys, these are all little ways that you can just maneuver in that gray area. The money's made in the gray area, guys. The money's made in the gray area. So how does the ramp up stage go? I've seen where you can only send 100 the first day and 200 next. Yep. So there's a ramp up period, but the ramp up period is, I think it's 200. Actually, I know it's 200 with REI reply the first day. Then it doubles. So you need to hit that max and get blocked, right? And then at the end of your day, then 24 hours later, it'll get unblocked and then it'll raise. A lot of people, they don't hit that max and then they wonder why they're like limited or it randomly like throttles them. So yeah, so for the first day you send off 200 messages. The next you can send off 4. The next you send off 8. Then the next you send off 1,600. Some of you guys may not even get there. After about 30 days, it automatically lifts. So yeah, the ramp up period is only like 2 days, literally 2 days long. But most people, especially if they're using my data, they're only sending off 500 texts. So they may not even get to the point where they're sending like 3,000 a day, because 500 is really all you need, especially if you don't have a VA. Even if you have a VA, I only suggest maybe like 1,000 per account in a day, but not in one drop. Like, just for reference, it used to take us 5,000 texts in Roar, which was a text messaging platform that we used to use. And we were blasting texts, man. So we used to send 5,000 texts in Roar just to get 5 leads. Now you only need to send 500 texts if you have it optimized right to get 5 leads. Big difference. Big difference. Okay, so how many phone numbers are you using per list? Great question. Guys, how I have it set up, 1 phone number, because I'm not sending them out in a drip. I'm using a completely different area inside of REI reply. And this is how I set it up for my clients. And this is what gives me a competitive advantage. I can't do that in any other tool. I can't do it in a Smarter Contact. Can't do it in, I can't do it in any other tool. Lead Sherpa, I can't. So I'm able to exploit how Go High Level has a particular area set up, and we customize it. We customize this area, workflow area, in order to send off text. Give me 1 second, guys. Gotta sneeze. Excuse me. But yeah, we customize it in a different area. So only 1 number. But if you're going to use it in a drip campaign, which is a slow way, I wouldn't do that. I would tap in with us so we can set up your REI reply account. But if you were to do it in the drip campaign area, then I would probably get 10 phone numbers. But you want to make sure you're checking your phone numbers every day through nomorobo.com. Nomorobo.com. Okay, let's get into that. So nomorobo.com. And for cold calling too, guys, if you don't have caller ID reputation, then if you don't have caller ID reputation, then it will, then you're going to want to use that. And guys, I actually have something incoming from my text message specialist. So he's watching live. Okay, so he actually literally just gave this to me. Shout out to you, my guy. So my guy, it's 8:02 p.m. We're still working. So, so 100. So the first day, 100 messages you're able to send in 24 hours. The second day, 250 messages per day in 4 hours. The third day, 500 messages you're able to send in 24 hours. And then the fourth day, 750 messages. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, third day, 500 texts. The fourth day, 750. The fifth day, it goes to 1,500. So guys, it doubles. The sixth day is 2,250 texts. The seventh day is 3,000, and then the eighth day is 3,000 plus. So let me ask my guy: do you have to hit the max? I'm guessing you're my guy is on. Are you watching? So do you have to hit the max? So I just texted him. Yeah. So okay, so guys. So listen, you have to hit the max every day. You have to. I would share this with you guys. But yeah, you got to hit that max every single day when you're if you want it to double. So you can't just assume, okay, I'm on the third day, I'm able to send 500 texts, and then you may get blocked a week later when you send 750 texts. But like, you have to hit the max. And again, guys, if you work with us, we give you a 1 hour call, where is on my texting specialist on my team who sets up my accounts for me. He'll walk you through a 1 hour call on all this stuff. So guys, it's super simplified. We don't like make this complicated on you guys. It may seem like it's complicated, but a lot of what I'm saying to you guys is, if you like are doing this yourself, if you guys work with us, we set up your account, then you won't have this issue. You don't have to know about all this stuff. It'll just be set up for you, and you literally just need to know how to send them off, which you can do yourself. We set this up for 50, 60, 70-year-olds, so my old guys and the younger guys too. So and they're able to send them off with no issues. Okay, thanks, Azam. Okay, so nomorobo.com, guys. See, all these little tweaks could cause your account not to perform well. It could cause your text messages not to get sent, and it could cause you to have issues with your 10DLC of compliance. So if your data is bad, if you're using spam numbers, if you're not using enough numbers in jerk campaign area, if you're using like if you're reusing data, if you're using a bad really texting company, all these things could cause it to not work. And then people are like, it's illegal and it doesn't work. Guys, even with cold calling, you have to optimize it. It's just texting. We're a year in, basically. We're basically a year and some change in the new compliance. So there hasn't been anybody on a large scale that has created best practices. Cold calling, there's best practices now because the TCPA laws have been around for over 20 years. But like, we're a year in, and so there's no best practices. And as a result, I'm creating best practices actually. But I'm not giving this stuff out en masse. There's some stuff I'm only keeping to my chest that I only share with people that sign up with me. Because again, guys, I could go in your market and run game. I'm still wholesaling, guys. I could go in your market and I could end up just text messaging everybody, no competition. I don't get homeowners that tell me, quit texting me, everybody's texting me. That doesn't happen to me anymore. So, but yeah, if you guys are on the struggle bus, you guys should tap in with me. All right, so let's see if I answer your question. How many phone numbers are you using per list? So I answered that. Okay, so cool. So about Harvard Business Solutions, the question was, Harvard Business Services, not Solutions. Harvard Business Services. That's for a LLC and not a holding company. Yeah, that's correct. It's just for your LLC. It's just, they could create series LLCs for you. They could do a lot more complicated things. I'm pretty sure it costs more, but for $300, they could create your LLC for this purpose. Excuse me. Yeah, so they can hook you up, man. They can hook you up. Let me see what Azan said. He said, once you reach the 1,500 limit, it takes a few days to reach a 2,200 limit. And then unlimited, even if you don't get past it, do the 2,200. So eventually lifts, guys. So just know once you reach that like 2,200 limit, like it may take a few days to get there. But for this purpose, you guys, you're not even going to be hitting 1,000. Right? If you're doing everything fine and you're doing this on your own, guys, I don't suggest for you guys to do any more than 1,000 texts per day. Guys, that's 10 leads. That's 10 leads. If you're having an issue converting 10 leads with texting, if you're getting 10 leads a day and over 7 days, you're getting 70 leads, you're having to you have bigger issues, guys. It's not a data issue. I'm at the point where I am really diligent with my text messages, like with my data. I just don't want to like run through it, especially with texting, because I know I can't like hit that list as much as I can a cold calling list. I could, they're about the same now, but either way, I'm not trying to blow through texting data. If I'm doing that, then that's a big issue. Okay. It's a big issue if I'm doing that, right? If I'm just blowing through it and I'm not, let's just say I'm going through it and I'm only looking for the people that want 50 cents on the dollar. Well, that's a conversion issue. You're not valuing the leads that are coming through. even if they're not motivated. So that's more of like a mindset issue. And a lot of investors in the pandemic PPP investors and PPP wholesalers, they were out here doing that. They were just trying to roll the dice, gamble, and get a deal under contract. But since you guys are here, you're more focused on doing things correctly with the correct principles. All right, guys, about to wrap this thing up here. Any other questions you have, let me know. I will look at let me just look at my notes I have here, and then I'll recap. Okay, so guys, again, text messaging. You want to make sure you're using the correct message. This is the key takeaway. And so what you can do is, even if you don't cold call, a message you could send is, hey, John, just gave you a call about your property at 123 Main Street. Feel free to text me back if you're open for a quick chat. Thanks. No to unsubscribe. That's going to seem like it's not robotic and not automated and not AI. And they're getting a whole bunch of cold calls. So how do they know if it came from you or not? Guys, that's a very, very, very under the radar text that would not get you in any legal trouble. If you send that to 10,000 people, I don't think you're going to get in any legal trouble. As long as you're following the best practices, getting good data, tap in with me, or you've got good data and you're following the best practices. Another key takeaway here, guys, while I'm recapping, is don't say anything about cash offers or we buy houses. That just seems very self-explanatory, so don't do that, right? Don't do that. A couple other things here is just to remember, guys, that it does work. If anybody's saying it's not working, ask them like in detail, have they went through the laws and have they done it themselves? Guys, you're going to get spooked out here if you're following a lot of people on YouTube or even in Facebook groups. Or Bigger Pockets is worse. I love BP. Shout out to the people over there. But man, some fear mongers over there. They'd have you not even do real estate. Seriously. These people will have you not even want to do real estate on Bigger Pockets. Like everything's illegal, and the FBI is going to come and and kick down your door. It's crazy. All right, so question. How do you get around initial opt-out language? So that's something I don't mess around with. I use initial opt-out language at all times, and it would not affect your lead response rates. Even if it does, I'll take a 1% lead rate. So I wasn't even getting that. I was getting 0.2 to 0.4% lead rates during the pandemic and before the 10 DLC law. So you guys want to make sure you're using opt-out language. Now, you don't have to say reply and like use a signature and say, hey, this is I'm not sure if that's you, Nate. That's not you, Nate, is it? No. You can say, hey, reply. I'm just going to say N. What's a good N name? Why can't I think of any names with N? This is going to bother me. It's been a long day, guys. Nathaniel. Let's say Nathaniel. Okay, cool. All right. So you can say, you could say, excuse me, how do you get around the original opt-out language? Okay, so you can say, this is Nathaniel. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, guys. I was trying to figure out a name. Oh my gosh, let me go back here. Okay, so just make sure you're not saying your LLC name. That's how you get in trouble. You don't need to do that. You don't need to say Nathaniel from Nathaniel Buys Houses. Type stop to unsubscribe. You could just say, you don't even need to use a signature like that. You could just say reply stop to unsubscribe or reply no. I like no. So if you are going to, again, guys, competitive advantage. If you are going to use opt-out language just to lay underneath the radar, say reply no. And if you have set up your accounts, then we'll do that for you guys, okay? And make sure you guys are compliant and everything. But yeah, Key takeaway here. I was struggling for a little bit. We're back on track now. Key takeaway: don't use opt-out language. Don't exclude that. Right? Again, we're doing everything above board, but where there is ambiguity is where CC Garland is playing in. Okay, guys. So where things aren't said are areas that I'm going. So it's just as important as things that aren't being said as things that are being said. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. So we have a question from Raymond here, and this was actually a comment on the Facebook group, so it's not going to show up here. So Raymond, we actually did a consultation call. He's watching live. So Ray, he said, it's the data gathering. It's the data I'm gathering that concerns me. What's the best practice to get it updated for text message marketing? That's a good question here. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That's why I knew. I thought that was you, Nate. I'm sorry. I thought that was you. Yeah, my fault, bro. I was struggling there. Oh, I did use Nathaniel, though. I'm pretty sure that's your full name. Okay, cool. All right, so it's the data I'm gathering that concerns me. Okay, this is what Ray said. So what's the best place to get updated data for text message marketing? Okay, guys, so I'm a little bit biased here. I don't know what the text messaging, what the data space looks like right now. I can't recommend anything other than myself. And that's not just pitching our plugin. I can't recommend anything other than my own data source, right? So I'll skip trace your list for you for 15 cents per record. Underneath 1,000, anything over 1,000, 12 cents per record. And we have a 99% hit rate, fewer than 1% wrong number rate. And the only way that people can track that, these vendors can track that, I track it because I'm doing marketing, right, with my same data set. So if I send off 10,000 messages and 100 people respond back wrong number, then that tells me it's a 1%. Right now, it's probably like 0.5, 0.2 to 0.5. Our wrong number rate's really low. So I have my own data set, guys. I created my own database years ago. I was using some other like reselling tools like Investor Title Toolbox, some other tools, but since then I've brought everything in-house. I'm tapped into Equifax. I'm tapped into Informion. I'm tapped into TLO. I'm tapped into a lot of tools you can only get with, with being savvy. I've done some things to be able to get access to these tools, and I've gotten them years ago, and so now I probably couldn't get them, but I was able to get them in my first couple of years in real estate. So yeah, guys, when it comes to data, I would just look at this. Whatever tool you're using, you want to make sure there's at least a 95% hit rate, because if you're getting 70% hit rates, there's 30% of the homeowners you're not getting in touch with. Guys, this is the reason why your market may seem saturated. If everybody's using prop stream data, if everybody's getting the same no hits using that prop stream data, or batch leads data, or skip genie data, if everybody's getting the same no hits, and I'm getting hits for that 30% that you guys aren't getting, guess what? And I'm using text messages. I'm not concerned if a homeowner messaged me now wanting to sell. I'll wait till tomorrow, because I know I'm not competing with anybody else over that seller. Does that make sense, guys? Your data set matters. Your data set matters. And I'm a data nerd, and I can only recommend myself. I build tools based off of what I want. And so I'm my own connoisseur of my own data set, and that's the only thing I recommend. Okay, guys? And if you want help with that, again, you guys can send me a message on Facebook or info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. Also at my Build to Scale website, at the bottom of it, there is a Build to Scale email. My CC Garland marketing email is just like my main one, but my Build to Scale email, it's a little bit longer. So you guys can do it here as well. Facebook, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on my info email. Guys, hit me up, comment here that you need help. I'll look for it. I don't want you guys just being lost out here, right? And I'm been a little bit too silent about what I offer. While I do provide this, guys, I love providing this information and knowledge to you guys. I do this as a service. I just need to tell you guys, hey, there's services that I offer. But I have had people over and over again tell me they've made 100,000 plus off of the free data on YouTube. All my services I offer are just for the shortcut. But you guys can put this together just on my free information on YouTube, right? You guys can pull lists based off my free information on YouTube. You guys could get based off the Facebook group. If you guys are in the Facebook group, guys, I have a course in there. If you guys are in the group, get in on it. It's build to scale, build to scale. Facebook groups, build to scale. Guys, I have a course I dropped in there, and it's a course. It's 16 videos long, and it walks you through, guys. It walks you through essentially how to do your market analysis, how to do your list pool, how to skip trace your sellers, and then just some best practices. It goes over hiring and it goes over vetting VAs and how to hire them as well. So I used to offer that for my coaching students and anybody that basically my 10 grand students. So that's a $10,000 course, guys, for free in the Facebook group. So yeah, so I would get on top of that if you guys haven't seen it. There's some things that need to be updated, but like 95% of it's still relevant. Okay, another question we have here. Great question, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. What's the best follow-up timeline? How often are you contacting back sellers that show interest? Are you calling to close deals, or can you rely on sticking to SMS for closing 100%? Okay, guys, don't believe the hype. If anybody says I use AI to close deals, from start to finish, cap. Wrong answer. No. So guys, this is what happens when those lead. Okay, so when somebody texts me back, and this is actually a great question. This is a great question. I love this one. So let's talk about whenever the texts come back. If somebody says, hey, I'm interested in selling, or they express some sort of motivation, they say, yes, what's your offer? Or they just give you a number, $100,000, get on the phone with them immediately. Don't try to communicate with them back and forth. Why? If you try to communicate with these people back and forth, what's going to happen is they're going to be in a situation where you're probably not going to communicate. You're probably going to lose communication with them, right? You text them back and forth. They may go somewhere. They may be at work. They may be texting when they have their phone on you. And then by the time they get off from work, they have text messages from kids. They're going to forget to respond back to you. So as soon as that person texts, I'm interested, get on the phone. And guys, I found the closure rate is extremely high when it comes to, and conversion rates rather are extremely high when you guys are sitting in that pocket as the business owner, right? Text messaging is perfect for solopreneurs. It's perfect, guys. Listen, you guys have your laptop, you're able to text, you're able to send off 500 texts at once, respond to all the texts, go about your day. You got 5 to 7 solid leads in, perfect. Okay. So with that being said, a VA can cloud things up a little bit, and you have to stay on top of your VAs if leads are coming through. That's why I have a separate follow-up specialist and a text messaging specialist. Because let's just say the text messaging specialist is getting inundated with text coming in, and then they're trying to, manage all these lists and stuff, and then they're getting on the phone. Well, they may miss out on some leads that came through. So, and the follow-up specialist, they're going to be trying to get in touch with these people morning, noon, and night over the course of a week. So they have to be like full-time on the phone trying to get in touch with these people. So follow-up timeline, this is what I would do. About 1 to 2 of your sellers will respond back the same day. The others won't, right? So you'll get them on the phone rather the same day. So if you call 2 people, okay, you call 2 people, you text 500 people, 5 people text interest, you'll get maybe 1 to 2 of those people on the phone the same day. If you call them right when you text them back, because they may be texting you and they may be on their job and can't talk. So with that being said, you have to be aggressive with your follow-up. Now, I would touch base with them 3 times a day over the course of 5 business days. They don't get in touch with you then you can follow up with them twice a week, for a week, and then drop it down to once a week for 2 weeks, and then maybe once a month. Just throw them in your usual follow-up cycle. You don't want to waste time trying to get in touch with people that won't respond back to you, because truthfully, you're only going to be able to get in touch with maybe 45 or 50% of these sellers over the course of 90 days. And your long-term follow-up, where I would put a VA on, once you have maybe 300, 400, 500 leads, 50% of those you haven't gotten in contact with, that's when the VA will focus on trying to, squeeze, out of those leads, maybe, 1 or 2 people a day that they haven't gotten in touch with. So you want to be really aggressive the first week that these leads come in. Okay. So what's the best follow-up timeline? How often are you contacting back sellers? Okay. That show interest. That's what I would do. I will contact them immediately as soon as they express interest. Okay. And then over the course of a week, I will touch base, follow up with them. Now, at that point, guys, you could put them in a drip campaign, and I would set that up with whatever CRM you're using. So when they respond back, guys, all this legality stuff, it goes to the wayside because they already opted in, right? Because they said, I want $50,000 for my house. What's your offer? I'm interested. Yes. Those responses. Okay. Then you can put them in that drips campaign up until they unsubscribe. Totally 100% legal. No gray area there. Okay. No gray area there. But I wouldn't do it in your REI reply account. Okay. I wouldn't do it there. That's strictly just for your cold marketing. We don't use, we market to buyers too. Marketing to buyers is totally legal, guys, because they're LLCs. Even if they have their name attached to it, they're buyers. So you can use your text messaging account for that as well. But with sellers, which is what we're talking about, let me get to this last part. Are you calling to close deals, or can you rely on sticking to SMS for 100% closing? Yeah, guys, nothing's going to close deals for you. This is cold marketing. This is that's the same. I'm not saying this any type of way because you asked, but it's akin, Mr. X, and anybody else who's asking, because I'm glad you asked, because you asked for the room, and other people may have this question as well. It's akin to saying, well, can my direct mail piece negotiate with the seller and get it to close? This is cold market. This is all the way on the left side of what I call the wholesaling timeline. You have follow-up, you have acquisitions, and all that. Guys, there was a point, and I think I was ahead of the curve here, where I was trying to create automated text messaging bots before AI really exploded. So back in 2020, I was trying to use Dialogflow, now TensorFlow with Google, and I was trying to create a text app, and I'll respond back to homeowners because I didn't want to talk to them. But guys, nothing replaces the human feel and human interaction. Nothing's going to replace that. The furthest that texting can get you is following up with your sellers that don't respond back. That's it. Other than that, guys, work on your closing skills. There's plenty of guys out here. Titanium Investments. There's also, or the guy who does titanium. There's another guy, John Martinez, Tiffany High, right? Results driven. They do acquisitions training as well. A little bit of overlap with what I do, but they focus heavily on acquisitions. There's a school community as well, guys. Really sharp guys. You could hit up a gentleman named James Thorne on Facebook, and he has a school community where they teach new investors how to do deals, and also how to negotiate. So that's all under school community, guys. What I focus on while I do help new investors out, I'm more helping you out on your marketing and helping you scale, right? There's other communities that guys can help you out if you need coaching with getting your first deal. So if you're trying to get to 2 to 3 deals a month, you have $5K as a budget, I can work with that. But trying to get to your first deal a month, there's definitely other communities that are a lot better built for that than myself. Okay. So, but yeah, don't believe the hype, guys. This SMS, automation, AI closing stuff. Don't believe the hype. That there's nothing that can replace human interaction. I've seen it, guys. I've tried it. And the biggest automation is finding the right person and the right fit for the job, right? And upping your acquisition skills. Nothing's going to replace the human. Nothing's going to replace humans, guys. Just remember that. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this call. Very, very great call, guys. I can tell you guys definitely want some information regarding REI reply, text message marketing. I may do another like Facebook Live showing you guys my REI reply workspace. So I think I'm gonna do that next time. You guys have any other questions before we wrap up? If not, guys, just drop an emoji or say if you guys found value out of this. Would really love that. I really feed off of you guys. Just like some of the things you guys. And again, guys, if you want to work with me, you go to my website, buildtoscalerealestate.com, buildtoscalerealestate.com. Let's talk about the schedule just going forward. So, next week. So, guys, I'm going to plan on doing these lives every Thursday. Okay. So, every Thursday at 7 p.m. I think that's a good time out of the week to do these lives. Okay. So, I'm going to do them around this time. You can always tap in on Facebook, YouTube, and the Facebook group. If you guys are in the Facebook group, guys, I know I give away a lot of value in just my Facebook profile, but like it's more structured and in detail and like organized in the group. Okay. And if you guys have questions too, you could drop questions. I just started allowing people to post questions, but guys, I have to review them because so many people have like spam and stuff. My community isn't like anybody's any other community out there. It's not. So just want to make sure like there's focus there. If you guys want to post deals, I have a community chat where you guys can post your deals. Guys, everybody in my community, I foster an environment of collaboration and no snakiness. So, if somebody's doing something snaky in the community, I'll pick up on it or let me know, and then we'll get them out of there. But I want it to be a place where the Facebook group is like no other group on the, I don't want to say on the planet, and Facebook, right? So, guys, tune in there, buildtoscalerealestate.com, Build to Scale Facebook group. Guys, glad you tuned into Valerie University. My friends, until next time, have a great evening, and I will see you all later. Peace.